Hello. So we're here with another bad anime review time. If you all remember correctly, we're still watching I'm a noble on the brink of ruin, so I might as well try mastering magic. I watched episodes 4, 5, and 6. Same idea, watching a bad anime with no subtitles to try and see what I can learnify. Side note, I think I mentioned this last time too. Ever since COVID, right? Since they only give it one time a year in December, sometimes it can be kind of hard to get in. And what's happened before is that actually both times I've taken it, I've had to go further away to take it because the one closer to me is always full. It's so annoying. Because the first time I took it just to see where I was at, and it was right before I got top surgery. Literally, like, I think a day before, so I was not in a good headspace. That time I didn't pass, although I was pretty close. And then when I took it again last year, I passed the N5, and now I'm trying to see if I can pass the N4. Anyway, besides all the other Japanese studying I'm doing, I'm watching bad anime too.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
So, remember, how do these reviews go? Is the anime bad? Of course. Is the review bad? Probably. Is the bad? Yes. That's all you need to know. Now, keep in mind, if any of you have actually watched this anime, which why would you do that? Because I'm watching it with no subtitles, I might get some stuff wrong, but I feel like I'm getting the overall plot, and honestly, the plot's so terrible that who cares? This time I got my notes up beforehand. Yeah. So when we last left off, I don't remember. There was oh yeah, Liam had like a cool dragon tattoo. He like murdered some baby dragons, but then he kind of didn't murder them. All these girls are his slaves through fluid exchange. This princess wants to marry him. There's a rock that's peeing gold in an emptied out lake. He has a book called Another World, which has like magical stuff in it. Episode 4. Sorry, just even looking at my notes, it's so fucking ridiculous. Like the notes I took while writing it, it's like, goddamn. Something happens about dragon magic, and his noble house gets him to want to practice using it. I don't remember why that was. I think it was that they realized that he was doing well with the dragon magic, and they're like, oh, you should practice using it more, whatever. Now, everyone wants to join his party because he's so cool. So there's basically a bunch of other NPCs that are like, I want to join your party, I want to join your party. And he's like, no! I can only have hot girls in this party, even though I don't really even want them. But I do, and I have a harem, and they're all my slaves, so that's what we're gonna do. Oh, wait, now everyone wants to marry him, too. You know, this is a very cishet show, so only women. Only women want to marry him, I think. I don't think there were any men, unfortunately. And then he's like, wait, I'm gonna take my 2 girls, the 2 main ones, what was her name? The blonde one, Azuna, and Priestess Girl, I don't remember her name. She has a really, like, basic name, too. Lily? Jessica? Steven?
Is a curse.
So he's like, oh, I'm gonna take both girls into my secret item box house, because now when you go into the item box, I have like a full like house in here where I can like live with them, and somehow there's oxygen and we're not gonna die in here. It's really weird. It basically looks like this huge white item box, right? And then there's a house with color right in the middle, like, all right, whatever. This bastard, this is what I wrote, this bastard is giving more life and intelligence to his spirit familiars to make day and night in his fake box house. Because it was something like one of the girls was like talking about how it was a bit weird or unfortunate that when they looked out the window of the house, it was just whiteness, you know, like emptiness. And then he basically gave his familiars, his spirit familiars, a power up so they can make day and night so the girls are more comfortable in their house. Sure. Now, outside in the real world, I guess, he ends up finding a bunch of pixies just like hanging out, chilling, living their life, right? And they're all these like, you know, pixies. They're like tiny little fairy things. He's like, hey, pixie girls, I'm gonna make you into my elf/familiar by giving you a name. Because this is like a semi-common thing in isekai too, right? Where it'll be like the dude, usually it's a dude. If he gives a name to like a non-human, then they like level up because now they're his familiar/slave, and then they have like more powers or stuff. Even though this doesn't make any sense, for the pixies when he does that, they all turn into elves. Then they have real clothes for some reason. because now they're elf girls. Then all the pixies are like, oh my god, I want to be an elf too. Oh my god, give me a name too. And he's like, oh god damn it. So he gives all the pixies names. And if I remember right, when he's giving the pixies names, he's just like running out of names. So he's like Jessica, Marion, Mary, Ma. Like, he's like, I don't know. So the reason why supposedly he made all these, well, he really was only trying to get one pixie into an elf, not all of them. But the reason he did that is because he wants them to make him a house. So basically all these forced pixie / elf slaves are now in construction.
Fuck, it's genius.
I didn't completely understand why they wanted to be an elf. It kind of got the impression of like, oh, elves are cool or they have more power or whatever, and so we all want to be elves, and I don't know. Okay, but unfortunately, even though, so they're all super excited. They're like, yes, we will definitely build you a house and give you free labor for no money. However, sadly, his new elf slaves, they don't know shit about building. They don't know anything about construction. Also, they're not really physically strong. The only thing they're able to make him is like this really depressing leaf house. I don't know if any of you have played The Forest. I really like that game. In The Forest, you can make these like really pathetic leaf houses, and the girls make him that. It's so bad that the leaf house like falls apart instantly, so he's like, oh. But don't worry, because now they have magic power-up fruits. Yay! I don't remember why that was important. So at some point, these human dudes come around and they try to, how can I say this for the YouTubes? They try to non-consensually do some things that the elves are not appreciative of. And then Liam is like, look girls, I can save you from these random perverts and I have magic. And they're like, Liam-sama, you're a king now, literally. Oh-sama! And he's like, oh, I don't want to be your king, but I guess I have to because I just have all the power in the world. Then in sayings, he gives them all his instant ramen. I'm not joking. So then all the elf girls / ex-pixies are eating instant ramen and being like, ooh, oh my, the ramen is so delicious. Yeah, I've never had this before, whatever. So then he gives them like a random country. I don't know how he just takes control of this piece of land, because that's not usually how things work, but okay. So he finds this piece of land and he's like, this is gonna be our country now. And he like makes a river and now he can teleport for some reason. Oh my god. So since now he can somehow activate the land with the ring from the princess, he can soar / float / kind of fly. And then the princess is like, oh, I recognize you as my king as well. Liam-sama. End of episode 4. Look, I didn't write this shit, okay? I mean, I wrote the notes, I didn't write this anime. Episode 5. It starts right where episode 4 ended up. Where the princess is still like, OMG, you're like my Osama. And he's like, okay. Also, my mom, something. And she has a flashback about her mom. I think her mom had like some magical power, maybe connected to dragons or something. I don't know. Anyway, whatever, who cares? Although I guess it's relevant. So they, as in Liam and the princess, go to some ruins. Oh my god, I forgot that I had this image up the whole time. Actually, you know what? Stare at the terrible pixelated image of this anime forever. You're gonna stare at it and like it! So they go to some ruins and they find a guardian, but don't worry, because that eternal voice in Liam's head, which I thought was the dragon, but then I started thinking, is it the stalker teacher? In the end, it does seem like it's the dragon. It's just really confusing. It's because the dragon keeps teaching him stuff and telling him stuff, and that's why for a while I'm like, maybe it's the teacher that's somehow communicating with him, but no, because the teacher is kind of like a stalker that doesn't really show up very often, and even though he's his forever teacher, he never really sees him, so whatever. The voice in his head says, hit him in his head, the guardian, I mean. Hit the guardian in the head. And now, the guardian is a happy familiar too, and a slave. Hooray! What the fuck? But now, in the country that he left all the cute elf girls at, which remember, the humans were trying to, yeah, some wolf guys attacked too. And they're like, oh my god, there's like these wolves that are trying to murder us and blah, 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 blah. I wasn't sure if this was like a longer time feud, or I kind of got the impression that maybe they often had problems with wolves. Look, I don't fucking know. So you basically see all these like wolf dudes who don't have shirts on, and they're all men. So for some reason when they roar, it's like really pathetic. It's like, actually I'm making it sound better than it is. It's like, I don't know. They can't roar very well. But don't worry, because now they're all friends. I think Liam like defeats one of them or something, and it was their leader, so they're all friends now. And then all the wolves bow to Liam, and he gives the main attacker leader dude a name, and now his name is Chris, which, why are all these the most basic names, was my note. I know my Japanese teacher has told me this too, that because English is seen as cool, I think it's used in a similar way to, like, you know how sometimes weebs will give themselves a Japanese name, which is super cringe on multiple levels. So I think it's similar to that, but backwards. But anyway, so he names the main dude Chris and makes him into another familiar slash slave. But here's the difference. Oh yeah, I'm getting closer. You uncomfortable yet? You uncomfortable? When Chris transforms into the cute wolf girl from the ending. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? And at first I was like, trans rights, yay? But, because I was just like, oh, that would be cool if that were the case. But then Chris is like, no, I've always been a girl. You just thought I was a boy. Which, maybe. I wish it was a trans thing. I wish it was something like, oh, now that I've become someone's familiar, I can have not only a leveled up body in the terms of like power, but also like the body that better fits me. That would be really cool, but I don't think so. So instead there's like this kind of like, I don't know, gender confusion. Liam doesn't seem to care. He was confused at first and he doesn't care. She says something that kind of sounded like they all look like men even when they're not, kind of like how dwarves are. And it's like, okay. I don't know though, because again, I call bullshit just because all the other wolves when they evolve look like men, except for her and one girl in the background, but whatever. She's cute and she's best girl apparently, so that's all you need to know. All right, so never mind. Now all the buildings are indestructible, so it sucks if they ever want to remodel anything. Now, if you break a building, it puts itself back together. The reason why that was important, I guess, is because I forgot to mention when the wolves were attacking earlier, not only were they like scaring the pixie elf girls, they were destroying the buildings constantly. And so then it's, you know, obviously hard to rebuild an entire building. But now there's like this point where they show that if you punch a building and break it, it like recreates itself. However, how are you going to remodel anything? Also, I don't know that Liam knows much about, I don't know what the word in English is, but you know, like the science of how water flows on the earth. Because he just stuck that river in a random place and it wasn't there before, so it could easily flood and destroy everything. You know why I know that? Because where I'm from, which is Puerto Rico, just reminding you, we have a lot of people who make bad choices. And one of the really common bad choices that architects and the government made was to either make rivers smaller and build houses right next to the river, or put rivers and things in places where they weren't before, which then caused a lot of flooding when we have hurricanes and a lot of people to get hurt or die and their houses to be destroyed. True story. You can look up pretty much any major hurricane in Puerto Rico and you'll see that there's like a ton of weird flooding, a ton of rivers overflowing, and people getting really fucked up. So I know a few things. My other note is also stop using magic missile for everything, because it's like any problem he has. Magical missile, magical missile, magical Stop. No more magic missile. Thank you. Oh no, the humans are back! Get out of here, humans. This is my country. These are literally my notes. Oh yeah? What's this called? No one knows what the country is called, so fight though! But he beats all the humans up. Okay. Now he's gonna transform all these pixies into his slaves again or something, and now they're gonna be familiars, and now he's trying to not run out of names again. I forget why. It was like once again he had a line of girls and he had to be like, oh, name. Oh no! They are coming for the princess. I don't know why. Liam learns telepathy and now they are getting married in a year. Yeah, I don't know. There was like a scene with him and the princess and someone was attacking the princess and... Oh yeah, because this is flashing back to like the princess's side adventure in the ruins. I think they went back to it. I remember being so confused because like, okay, we're back here now? Is this a flashback? What's happening? So like I said before, it kind of seems like her mom maybe had dragon powers, and so she now too has dragon powers, and there's like these little tokens, idols of dragons, and she has one, and blah, 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 blah. So he gets her this tiny statue from the shrine. I think he He uses his magic to manipulate it and make it or something too. And now she has powers a bunch, and now she's also a familiar slash slave, even though she's also a princess, and yay, dragon powers, and she also gets this weird armor. But also, how many fucking slaves is Liam? Like, Liam literally, it's like the entire world and universe is his slave slash familiar, especially pretty girls.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Wait, why does he have new powers from the weird guardian dragon? Oh, he's a Super Saiyan now. That's how the episode ends. Episode 6. Okay, we're getting there. At the beginning of episode 6, there's a recap of all the other episodes. It's episode 6. Why do we need a recap? Also, not much has happened. It's like a lot has happened and nothing has happened. It's kind of like one of those, we're gonna have a long ass recap before the opening type of thing. Like, all right. So it was unclear who the voice was. I thought it might be the god slash angel girl right from the beginning when he dies in Japan or whatever, but it actually could be the wolf girl. I was having a hard time with the voice. I finally figured out that his teacher's name might be Raymond. I'm telling you, these are the most basic ass fucking names. And then I was trying to see like the gender divide in the, because I was still curious about Chris, between the wolves and elves, and it's like, okay, literally all wolves are boys and all elves are girls, except for Chris, and again, except for one other wolf girl I found in the background. There are no boy elves for some reason either. I don't fucking know. Oh no! Now some trolls are coming. Because I think they were saying the trolls were threatening them or something like that, and so he goes off to meet them, and now he's fighting with the trolls, because the trolls, I think, either hate elves and pixies, or I think they might have been mad about, what's the word, like the collaboration between the elf pixies and wolves or something. Whatever, they were big mad, okay? They were big mad. Liam, so dumb sometimes. He falls into a hole that the size is so small, it basically just barely fits his feet. So if I remember right, the troll used like a weapon club thing to make a hole, and then he fell into the hole. Don't you have like mega superpowers and you can fly and shit? So why are you in the fucking hole? But okay. But then wait, he escaped instantly because magic dragon guardian powers, which obviously. Oh my god, but wait. Wolf girl, Chris, shows off her rareness with the trolls, and now Liam is making them familiars and hot, because basically they turn into like troll creatures into like really buff dudes. So when they evolve, not only do they look buff, they all have like bondage leather daddy harnesses on them. I'm not joking. All of them. And it's just like, well, that's a choice that an entire species of creature is like really into BDSM, I guess. That's okay. Also, all the trolls say "de gozaru," which is so fucking annoying. Wolves and trolls train, but humans are back. Oh no, and they're once again being gross to the elf girls. They're like some gross dudes. I mean, basically the anime is like, all humans are gross men. No other humans exist. You remember how before we were in a human town with human people? Not anymore. Now we're in non-human country, and the only humans are Liam and his slave girls from before, and the princess, who's now a slave girl, so whatever. But it's okay this time, because for some reason, somehow, I don't know if the wolves help them or what, the same elf girl who was attacked in an earlier episode, she is now super strong and powerful, and she's like, pow, 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 pow! You can't do anything to me, you gross humans, because now I'm strong and powerful. And they're like, oh shit! A human tries to take Liam as a hostage. None of us care, because, you know, Liam is so strong and OP that them taking him as a hostage is the stupidest thing ever. It's just that because they see him as a little kid, they assumed, oh, if we can't take the girls as a slave, we'll take the little kid as a slave. It didn't work out, obviously. He escaped very easily. Then he goes back into his item box / home. For some reason, you know, like there's been, so he's had different like elemental spirits. He has like a water one and a fire one and probably something else, I don't remember. But then when he goes back into his little item box world, there's a ton of them. For some reason, I cannot figure out why. They're just all hanging out. I was like, oh, is he gonna also make them into all his slaves and familiars? But instead, the initial one that he got, I think she basically asked him to make her into his familiar / slave and give her more powers or some bullshit. So he does that and named the first one Undyne. I call her Undyne Zero because they're all Undynes. I think it's also bizarre. I know this is a common way to draw them, but they all have their eyes closed all the time, so it just kind of is super weird. And that's the end of episode 6. Sorry, I'm just contemplating my life.
That, bro.
I was thinking this time I should add a little bit of my overall thoughts of this anime, not just the recap, right? I mean, the recap is the most important part to me because I'm trying to study. So, look, I've watched a lot of isekai. This is definitely isekai trash. It's the same thing as always. It's like random MC or protakun who's actually a middle-aged salaryman from Japan dies or gets killed or who cares. And then it's like, I'm finally free from the drudgery of endless work and now I get to do cool stuff. And I get it. I get that it's a power fantasy, you know? I don't always hate a power fantasy. I think sometimes they can be well done. Sometimes they're kind of cool. They need a plot, you know? They need to have something interesting. And this one, there just isn't anything. I genuinely don't understand. I can't imagine the light novels being better. Maybe they are. There's so many of the same type of trash stuff, and you can find better ones. You can find much better isekai too. I have a lot of issues with Maho something Tensei. Some of you will know what I'm talking about. But basically, in that one, the main character is such a douchebag, right? Like he was really a piece of shit when he was alive in Japan. Even though they give the excuse of like, oh, well, he was bullied and that's why he's a piece of shit. It's like, no, this is really way past that point. However, putting aside all the misogyny, which is a lot to say, one of the things that I feel like they did well is that they do try to show him being a better person and how basically his reincarnation helps him to explore who he is and be less of a piece of shit, you know? He still kind of is, don't get me wrong, but at least there's some character development, and in that series, the world building is actually really good and interesting, which is why I watch it, because I can't stand the main character. There's a lot of stuff he does and says that's really gross to me, but the world building is really interesting. That one is still a power fantasy, that one still has a lot of misogyny and grossness, but it's well done for what it is, you know? This is kind of like, it's almost like AI slop, you know what I'm saying?
So hard. I lost again.
Take the punishment. Your turn to answer the question.
It's like, wow, there's just no soul in any of this. There's no point. It's like the same tropes over and over again. There's literally nothing interesting about it. There's nothing unique. Even the girls' character designs are pretty blah. They're not terrible. I've seen way worse. At least you can tell them apart, and they have like different-ish designs. And what is this guy doing? Because initially his point was two things. One was that before, I think when he died, he wanted to study, or when he got reincarnated, he was really into magic and he wanted to be in a world where he could use magic, which actually sounds pretty cool. And then the other thing is that he's like, oh, my whole noble house is poor, so I want to make money for my noble house, right? Fine. But then it seems like those two goals kind of disappear, because the magic part, like, it would have been really cool if he would have been studying magic little by little and learning how to use it and just being really dedicated to it. But instead it's like, oh, I found the magic book and some pervert in the woods who taught me magic, and so now I'm like super OP at magic and I never have to worry. And apparently by selling ramen now my family's probably rich, maybe also by killing/stealing baby dragons. So you see what I mean? Like, what? Okay, so what's the point then? What's the purpose? Because then you're kind of having him in the situation where he supposedly reluctantly has all these girl slaves who are just giving themselves to him, you know? There's no point. What is his goal? He doesn't have one. Because even in slice of life anime, then you have a lot of character development and interesting things that keep you there. This doesn't have any of that. So I'm gonna keep watching it. I want to watch the whole season. I want to get through it. I chose this for myself. These are my choices. Okay, bye everybody. Till next time on Bad Anime Reviews with Galaxy System. Hooray!